There is a quiet moment that happens when you wake up and scroll through your phone. You see people smiling, traveling, achieving. Someone just bought a house. Another friend got promoted. Someone else seems to be endlessly happy, glowing in every photo. And without even realizing it, your heart whispers, "Why not me? Why am I not there yet?" Comparison often arrives without knocking. It creeps into the silence of your morning, into the pauses of your evening, into the fragile places of your heart. And slowly it convinces you that you are behind, that you are less, that your life is somehow smaller than theirs. But here is the truth no one tells you often enough. The story of your life was never meant to be measured against someone else's. Every seed grows in its own season. The oak tree does not rush because the sunflower blooms in a few months. The river does not envy the rain because each has a different purpose. Yet we, human beings, forget this wisdom and let the constant noise of comparison rob us of peace. So today, let's explore the art of stepping away from comparison and moving gently into acceptance. Not the loud kind of acceptance that shouts, "I don't care anymore," but the quiet kind. The kind that feels like breathing deeply and realizing that you are enough. So before you get too comfortable, hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy this kind of video, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Now dim the lights, maybe grab a snack, and let's jump in. Number 1, understand the illusion of social comparison. We often forget that what we see in others is only a carefully chosen slice of their reality, polished and presented for approval. Think about the last time you shared something online. Most likely, you picked the photo where you looked your best, adjusted the brightness, and maybe even rewrote the caption until it sounded perfect. That process itself is proof that what we show the world is not the entire truth, but a curated fragment. Psychologists explain this through the spotlight effect, a cognitive bias where we overestimate how much attention others pay to us while failing to see what they conceal. Research shows that on platforms like Instagram, people are far more likely to post positive life updates than negative ones, creating a distorted sense of reality. Behind the smiling photo of a vacation might be stress, debt, or even loneliness. It's much like watching a theater production. The stage glitters with lights, costumes, and flawless lines, but behind the curtain are hurried changes, missed cues, and exhaustion. Social media is the stage. We rarely glimpse the backstage. Once you realize this, comparison loses its power, and you begin to see that perfection is more performance than truth. Number 2, embrace your unique timing. Life has its own seasons. No matter how hard you try, you cannot force spring to arrive in the middle of winter. The soil knows when to rest, the tree knows when to shed, and the flower knows when to bloom, and so does your life. One of the greatest traps of comparison is the belief that you must achieve everything at the same pace as others. But growth is never uniform. Think of siblings raised in the same household. One may seem to succeed earlier, while another takes longer to find their path. Yet both can end up in places equally meaningful, equally impactful, and equally beautiful. There is a verse in Ecclesiastes that says, "That includes you. Your delay is not denial. Your waiting is not wasted. It is simply your season unfolding in a way only you can walk." Consider the oak tree. It doesn't grow overnight. It takes years for its roots to deepen, for its trunk to thicken, and for its branches to stretch toward the sky. Compare it to grass. It sprouts quickly, seemingly abundant. But a storm can flatten grass in seconds, while the oak stands strong for centuries. Quick growth is not always lasting growth. When you embrace your unique timing, you allow yourself to breathe. You step off the endless treadmill of comparison and into the steady rhythm of your own journey. Number 3, focus on your quiet progress. Progress often hides in silence, moving in ways so subtle we almost miss it. Psychologists call this the accumulation effect, where small repeated actions compound over time into noticeable change. It's the same principle that makes compound interest so powerful in finance. Tiny, steady contributions eventually grow into something far greater than the sum of their parts. In life, this principle shows up in learning, healing, and personal growth. Think of a student studying a language. At first, each new word seems insignificant. Days blur into weeks and the effort feels stagnant. But 1 year later, that same student finds themselves reading fluently, speaking with confidence, and realizing that what once felt invisible has transformed into something undeniable. Biologists see the same process in nature. A tree does not shoot up overnight. If you watched it daily, you'd swear nothing changed. Yet with time, its branches stretch, its roots deepen, and its shade widens. This is why progress often feels elusive. It resists immediate recognition. The real challenge is not whether growth is happening, but whether we notice it. Comparison blinds us to this truth by shifting our focus outward, making us miss our own quiet victories. When you pause and ask yourself who you were a year ago, you'll likely see the invisible steps that carried you forward, steps that, like a heartbeat, never stopped moving you closer to who you're becoming. Number 4, practice gratitude for your path. Gratitude may seem like a small gesture, but in reality, it reshapes how we perceive life itself. At its core, gratitude is not just about saying thank you, but about training the mind to see differently. It is a lens that softens the harsh edges of comparison and magnifies what is already good. Comparison thrives on the illusion of scarcity. It tells you that you're missing something, that you're not measuring up. Gratitude, in contrast, shifts the narrative by reminding you that abundance is already present in your life, if only you take time to notice it. Scientific research backs this up. Studies in positive psychology and neuroscience reveal that practicing gratitude activates the brain's reward centers, releasing dopamine and serotonin, the same chemicals linked with feelings of joy and satisfaction. Over time, this rewiring makes it easier to focus on what is uplifting rather than what is lacking. For example, keeping a gratitude journal where you write down even 3 small things each night, a warm cup of tea, a kind word from a colleague, or the quiet of an evening, has been shown to improve mood, resilience, and overall well-being. This perspective isn't about ignoring struggles, it's about reframing them. Even difficulties can carry hidden lessons, shaping resilience and depth. Think of it like standing in a field. Some people only see weeds while others notice wildflowers. Both are looking at the same ground, yet one finds complaint and the other finds beauty. Gratitude is the choice to notice the wildflowers, and when envy or comparison arises, it becomes the antidote, anchoring you in appreciation rather than lack. Ultimately, gratitude is strength. It frees you from measuring your worth against others and invites you to walk your own path with peace. Number 5, celebrate others without losing yourself. Comparison has been a deeply human tendency for centuries, shaping how people measure themselves against others. Psychologists call this social comparison theory, first introduced by Leon Festinger in 1954, which explains how individuals determine their own worth based on how they stack up against others. While it can sometimes motivate improvement, it often fuels envy and dissatisfaction. For instance, studies show that excessive use of social media increases rates of depression and anxiety, largely because people compare their behind-the-scenes struggles to the polished highlights of others' lives. But here's a healthier perspective. Another person's success does not subtract from your potential. Just as in astronomy, where billions of stars coexist without one dimming the other, your journey shines brightest in its own timing. In Buddhism, the practice of mudita, or sympathetic joy, teaches us to celebrate others' happiness as if it were our own. Neuroscience even supports this. Practicing gratitude and joy for others activates brain regions linked to positive emotion, reducing stress and boosting resilience. By genuinely clapping for a friend's achievement, you're not only strengthening your relationship, but also training your mind to focus on abundance instead of lack. Life, like a garden, has room for all blooms. Your time to flourish will come. And until then, each flower around you can remind you of what's possible. So the next time comparison comes, let it not drive you to despair. Let it remind you instead that life unfolds differently for everyone. Your path is not theirs, and theirs is not yours. You are not late, you are not behind. You are simply becoming in your own time, in your own way. Breathe deeply, accept where you are, and whisper to yourself, I am enough.